Round the Beggar from Luossa by Dan Anderson. Translated by Ola Wikander. Round the beggar from Luossa people gathered in a ring. By the campfire they sat, and heard his song. And of wayfarers and mendicants and every wondrous thing, and of his longing he sang to them all night long. There is something beyond mountains, beyond flowers, beyond singing. There is something there behind the star, behind my burning heart. Hearken! Something goes there whispering, goes there calling me and praying. Come to us, for of this earthly kingdom you are not a part.
Luossa city, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flaying, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Endings. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama. Welcome back to Desperate Attune, everyone. And today's episode, we have not been all of us for a little while, but this time we are. We are today looking to continue our story from last session. Last session being a little bit of a special episode in which Mushfik, Moss, and Clem went into the desert to look for Gurban the Camel, dragged him back to civilization, and learned that there is a piece of the star in the well lying out in the desert in a smuggler's cave operated by Gurban's gang, who are now not Gurban's gang, I guess, because the gentleman himself has been dragged back to Duasha and is still unconscious, I think. We sort of left things off with him passed out after having been ghost possessed in an unusual twist in Uduasha. Moss had imported a ghost. That ghost briefly inhabited Gurban and then moved on to his camel. No, the ghost inhabited Gurban, and then it inhabited Gurban's camel.
Okay. I don't know why I'm asking, actually. Never mind. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There are a few other things going on, though. Bidrohi is in prison in the Hand, in the deep mining district, doing basically hard labor as punishment for his crimes. It's also a convenient way to get him away from the Falling Star Sword School, which at the time were like straight up looking to kill him. They probably still are, but at the moment they don't know that he's still alive. Or at minimum, they don't know how to find him. The situation with the war with the Falling Star is that it's sort of been dialed back since they have been unable to find Bidrohi, since they have been unable to do anything about the crew, what with Captain Peregrine's interventions. Basically, it's now a frozen conflict. So you're still at -3 faction status with the Falling Star Sword School, but they are not going to take any proactive action against you because they just haven't found an angle to do so until you poke them again, and at that point they might. Lastly, we have the matter of Saeeda, who passed out a good number of sessions ago after being poisoned by malaria Clem, and has spent a significant amount of time unconscious, and we will be getting back to that.
I was informed that. Yeah, because I was informed, and I want the listeners to know this mostly because I think it'll be very funny for them to do so. I was informed that it will be entertaining if I, the player, know nothing about what my character knows. So this is not just play to find out what happens in the fiction, but it's talk to find out what is going on at all, which is in real life in some ways.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's where we will be opening. Saeeda, you have been poisoned for some time, and the last thing that you remember is being at an outdoor opera performance and being dragged underground, invoking the Prince of Endings against your assailants, and then basically running out, seeing Bidrohi, and collapsing into his arms, more or less.
Yeah. No, I remember all of that. Yeah. I remember thinking, I'm going to be fine. They're going to take care of me. It's going to be all okay.
Yes. And when you wake up, you find yourself very stiff and tired and, like you've been lying down for a long time, which you definitely have. Probably will need some time to be able to move normally again. This has been a harrowing experience, but the environment you find yourself in is hot, humid, and unpleasant, with steam leaking out of a messy array of pipes that makes you think you're in some sort of boiler room or back room for some sort of establishment. And also, unrelatedly, the air is filled with that kebab smell that everyone loves.
Oh my god.
Mixing in with the humid and heavy and difficult to breathe air.
Have you just stuck me in the back of a kebab shop?
You are surrounded
This is not an encouraging set of noises.
Encourage you to have some kebab.
Yes, you can hear people scurrying about in the background. You've been slipping in and out of consciousness probably for a while, just noticing these pipes and this weird environment. And in the background is scurrying about of people and a voice that calls out to not to you, but to these other people. A voice that calls, "No, not there. No, not there. Yes, that's better."
I have a question before we proceed, if I may. It's a question for Tree.
Oh, go on.
So you passed out in Bidrohi's arms, and now you're waking up smelling a delicious smell. I don't know what the problem is. But in the intervening time, did you have any dreams?
Unfortunately for you, I know exactly what I've been dreaming of. And you're not going to find out yet.
Okay.
But if you think for even a second I have not been thinking about this, you would be sorely mistaken.
Remember that your dream must incorporate kebab, because that's what you've been smelling for months.
Yes,
it does.
I don't know precisely when in the timeline this happens, if Saeeda's been literally out of it for months, or if it is the case that Saeeda will need some rehabilitation for months to get back into the action. We'll see how it aligns with everything else. But you've definitely been out of it for a long time, and you will need, when you're knocked out for weeks on end, you don't just get back up and walk around, right? It'll take some time for your body to start working again. I think you will also find as you wake up that this slab you're put on has you connected to a variety of definitely Akarosi looking equipment that's measuring your state. And things like that. You have some sort of blood pressure monitor thing attached around your arm. And there's spark craft around.
Okay. I'm not philosophically opposed to Sparkcraft, but I'm not philosophically in favor of Sparkcraft either. My eyes slowly open up. I raise my arm to kind of wipe them and find that, for some reason, the ends of my fingers are tingling. It's not a pleasant experience by any means. And I think I have not been in this kind of situation in long enough that my first response isn't, and now, oh my god, hostage and I better stab somebody. Instead, I will merely kind of call out and say, is there anybody there? Where the fuck am I?
Unexpected. Patients awake. Put that down. A person comes before you, and I think Salty, do you want to describe the vibe of this person? Because it's your friend.
My best friend, yeah, sure, why not?
Oh man, your best friend, huh? Okay.
In so much as Clem has best friends, yeah. Very, very tall, very lanky. It's that classic anime guy with the glasses, I think, as he kind of comes over to examine you, pushes them up, the light sparks off of them, blonde hair kind of a little bit limp and plastered to the forehead because it's so humid. Kind of doesn't even bother saying anything to you, just gets back to examining.
Yeah, and he had, I think, an artificial arm, was it?
Leg.
Leg,
Leg,
yes.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah. He has some very clearly visible war injuries and prosthetics, and looks you over, having called some apprentice to put that down. You don't see the apprentice, whatever happened to them, and he looks at you, and then he consults his pocket watch, which is one of those pocket watches you see briefly that has a little separate tracker for days of the week. And he taps it and says, well, you're a little ahead of schedule, but I think that's all right. How many fingers am I holding up? Yes, good, he says without bothering to check for an answer, just waves fingers in your face.
I can respect that energy.
And that he puts the pocket watch back and says, you're very lucky to be alive. Let's just say that much. I apologize about the heat. I have been complaining.
The heat? Is that the reason it smells of kebab?
Oh, no, that's entirely unrelated. We're underneath a particular establishment. They enjoy their kebab and their hot bath.
Oh my fucking god. Is this really where you brought me?
It took you this long?
No! I just was in denial.
Yeah.
Okay. What in my life? Okay. I mean, Saeeda doesn't know any of this. So I think they will just say, kebab and who brought me here? I was with Bidrohi. I was with the rising moon.
Ah, yes, that would be my good friend Clementine, and also a very rude boy who kept poking you despite my best insistence. I'm sorry to say he may have interfered with your recovery process, though of course I've done my very best to prevent that.
I see. I'm grateful for your service. I'm in your debt. It seems that whatever happened to me was not so easy to shrug off as I thought.
Well, no. And you're not out of the woods yet, just because you're awake, I'll have you know. These things can still have serious consequences. If you feel any tingling in your limbs, there may be necrosis, although I've already tested for that. There shouldn't be.
No, it's an old injury. Nothing can be done about it now. Might I have some water?
Yes, yes, of course. I'm afraid it will have to be rather warm, he says, and he heads off to one of the many pipes that connect to this other establishment. And I think it becomes clear to you when you're looking around that whatever this place is, it must be like secret. This is obviously not
Yes.
a place meant for people to live or operate in. And he siphons off some water from a hot pipe.
God. Mm-hmm.
It like gives it to you, steaming hot. Probably almost was steam in the pipe.
The phrase pipe dream begins to take on a whole new meaning.
Yes.
Um,
And he begins to check the instruments he has set up monitoring you, I think.
I will say, I'm sorry to ask this, but I had a sash. Quite a dangerous one, in fact. You wouldn't happen to know where it's gone.
That is why you are here. Now, admittedly, I don't keep very much up to date with the outside world, so I don't know the latest gossip, if you want to call it that. But I believe the person you had quarrel with is probably passed on. I'm not sure.
I think it's funny, this misunderstanding.
Yes.
Yes.
Saeeda, this makes no sense to them, so you'll just say, passed on? You know this for a fact?
Well, I know very little for a fact. As I said, I don't keep track of the outside world very much. Do you want me to get you someone from your sword school? They might be able to explain things more adequately. I can put out word. It may take a little while for them to get here, but then I have tests to run and you need to sit still.
Yes, that would be good. And
Never mind. I think they're in the desert. Well, you'll have to wait a little. They should be coming back.
in that case, I would appreciate a favor of a different kind.
Yeah, but this isn't entirely true because there's Bal Murad, there's Pilot. I'm assuming they were left behind.
Yeah, that's true. I just think it's funny if one of the first things Saeeda finds out is that your friends are in the desert.
I mean, I'm so fucking out of it. Like, in the desert, I don't know what that means. I'm just, oh my god, I'm finished. I'm just going to say, are we below ground?
Well, I mean, strictly speaking, yes, but most places in this city are in one sense or another.
In my clothes, if they're still here, there would have been a note. If you could whisper it into the ground, I would be grateful.
Whisper it into the ground. Is this an Uduashan turn of phrase I'm not familiar with?
No, it is there is a man who will be listening for such things.
I'll delegate it. And I will put out word that as soon as they are back from the desert, I will call one of your people here. I think he has found this note some time ago because, they've had to change your clothes and, tend to you. So what does this note actually say?
I think that my friend Shahryar, who is one of the oldest and most powerful sorcerers in the house Ankayat, has given me some kind of failsafe, right? Like, what if I was trapped? What if I couldn't get away? Whatever, right? And this isn't exactly the use for which he gave it to me, but it seems like if my friends are not available, and I'm not super sure that I can trust this man, then maybe I should call on the help of someone who I can trust. Even if, we're at war with the Red Sashes.
I have planned for you to meet the crew again shortly, but I do like the idea of calling Shahryar into this situation, so why not? So, okay, he will whisper this into the ground, and I guess Shahryar Ankayat, which is just your fishing buddy, right?
Yep.
Yep. Yep. You know so many sorcerers, it's hard to keep them apart, but yes, this is the old man, the fisherman. Yep. I think he will show up. after some time, he will be like let in by. I guess your host never introduced himself, but you would learn his name at some point. It's Aaron, and he is very obviously Akarosi, if his technology wasn't wasn't describing it enough. And there is an odd interaction between him and Shariar, I think, who I'm imagining Shariar as the sort of person, though, even though he is nobility and like very rich and a powerful sorcerer, just doesn't dress it at all, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen this from him. So he just looks
He's
like
rich enough
a
to look
normal.
poor.
What? Yeah, exactly. He's rich enough to look poor.
Yeah.
So he just kind of shows up.
The Mark Zuckerberg approach.
Yes, correct.
Yes. And comes in his like slightly ruffled, but like it's one of those situations, I think, where his clothes are tailored to fit him quite perfectly, so they look very nice, but they're like very, very out of fashion. I think that's the vibe he's dressed in. Like he still dresses like he did when he was young.
I mean, he still thinks he's young, so
yeah.
Who's to stop him, really?
Yeah. So this man comes in, looks to you as you're being like given solid food for the first time in a while, and so on. In fact, let's say that you're eating when he steps inside, having been shown in.
Yeah.
And he says, I forget how he talks now. We have seen him on screen, but only briefly. He's kind of a calm guy, so
definitely weird, but not in a way that like you could tell from how he speaks.
Yeah. So he steps in and says, Saeeda, lovely to see you again. I'm sorry to hear you haven't been well. He looks around the area trying to figure out what sort of hospital precisely this is, because I think Aaron introduced it to him as a hospital, even though it looks nothing like it. But
yeah. I will just say I was stabbed, I think, in a pretty bad way. I think if I had my wits about me, I would have made sure not to be separated from them, but I'm not as young as I was.
I think I heard about this, an incident at a performance. I wasn't sure it was you. It's difficult to confirm these things sometimes, but I thought it might be. Especially when, well, after that whole dreadful affair where you couldn't show up fishing anymore. And it's telling, I think, that he isn't completely sure you got stabbed. He didn't bother to confirm that, but he did confirm that you got kicked out of the Ruby Jetty.
Yes. Correct. Yeah. And and I think like I do kind of like laugh because this is what I missed about him, really. And I'll just say I'm sorry to impose on you, but and then I'm going to look up at Aaron, who I'm sure has taken great care of me. I'm sure he's a very upright, normal man who just lives underground next to some pipes. And I will say, I may need to recuperate somewhere that is a bit more suited to my temperament.
Oh, absolutely not. Clementine asked me to keep you here, and frankly, most of the other physicers in this city don't know what they're doing, and especially not with a poison like this. I'm sorry about the lack of comfort. Oh, there's another reason, of course. This place is secret, technically. He says, looking over at the guest who showed up unbidden.
I mean, like, he came with a bodyguard, because I'm pretty sure all of House Sankaya, like, major sorcerers have, like, a badass with them, just in case.
Yeah, we have established that he has a bodyguard that he does his best to ignore all the time.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think I will just say, I appreciate your forbearance, but I have an injury that is not quite physical. And I'm afraid that if the sash has passed on, then I may, and you may be in much more danger than. How does a demon even die anyway? And I'm asking Sharia this because now,
Yes.
first of all, let's be real, I've been out of it for a long time, so like my information security, already patchy, has fallen to shit. But also B, what the fuck?
Yes. So, remind me here, who took care of Saeeda's sash? Where is that, actually? I'm asking the other players, because
Yes, good.
we didn't actually detail it, but we should detail it now.
I don't think it was narrated. The most obvious person to hand it to would be Tomas.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Like, I think we took... Boss wasn't there at the scene where Saeeda was injured, so I think afterwards I went back and gave it to Moss.
Yeah. And Moss has presumably kept it in your shared home? Or...
Yeah, this makes sense. Don't take the sash with the demon of the desert wind into the desert. That's bad.
No.
Even if like you avoided doing that by accident, well, you know, the Prince of Ending smiles down upon us all.
Yeah. Now we know that out of character. I don't think either Aaron nor Shariar would have any way of knowing this, though.
No, they would not. Yeah.
So
I'm mostly asking Shariar
if a demon can die, and he says, "Well, we've had some philosophical debates on the matter. I think."
Is anyone going to tell Saeeda what actually happened?
I think that it's very funny if she doesn't find out yet, and I also think that this is an important philosophical question to ask Shariar because if a demon can die, then the Prince of Endings may be real.
Yeah. So he ponders and he says, "Well, it's an interesting philosophical debate. I think what's certainly true is a demon can change so much that what it was is practically dead, and that might be good enough. And in fact, you might argue that can apply to a person too."
The song you taught me, I used a part of it to bind that demon to my sash. And if that demon is dead, then I think I may be in grave danger.
Oh yes, that would be bad.
That would be bad, yes, indeed.
You know, it's generally ill-advised to bind demons into pieces of clothing, but who am I to judge? Well, I'll escort you out of here then, he says with a look towards Aaron. And Aaron,
because I think I'm hoping that like the fact that this man and I, who he appeared because this Aaron's intern whispered something into the ground.
Yes.
And like, you know, me and Shariar have been talking about some really wild shit, no problem.
Yes.
So I really hope that Aaron may, from this, glean that like this may be not exactly above his pay grade, but not necessarily his area of expertise.
Yeah. You know what? Why don't we make a roll here? I think it's a fortune roll, and it's how convincing you are. How it's probably command or sway.
Command, even better. Yeah.
I think it's command to be a commanding presence, just to see how this goes. And I think we should cut to the other players finding you, but you know, we'll see it after this.
Yeah. Will I get a die for Shariar? Like,
yes, he is your best friend, so it makes sense he applies here.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because I think this strange man would help. It's a 4.
So, I think Aaron says, "Well, I will need to know how to contact you because, well, frankly, Clementine entrusted this care to you, and if you're leaving, well, then I can't care for you unless I come along."
I'm going to look at Shariar, upon whose grace my entire existence depends, and leave it up to him.
Shariar is not going to prevent anyone from coming along.
Yeah,
he doesn't
exactly.
give a shit. So
That's what I figured. Yeah.
So I think Aaron is just following you around now. It's
great, fantastic.
Not only is he following you around, he's going to keep this like blood monitor attached to your arm.
Oh my god! Okay,
and like
great.
with a connector to it, with like a tube to it, gonna keep reading your values, since he has pretty sophisticated stuff here. So this is not just reading your pulse, right? This is electroplasmic, studying your life essence, kind of.
Yep.
So
And
there's gonna be a cable attached to your arm, attached to a big box that Aaron is carrying around to read your vitals from.
Yeah, and I think the fact is also that like he is going to be reading some severely strange vitals.
Yes.
On account of, well, there's been a whole demon thing going on. You know, there's just so much happening.
Yes. And I think the funniest way to bring more people into the scene is if the crew that were in the desert have just come back. So, in fact, why don't we cut to them as as Saeeda makes their way back to base.
Yes.
Let's see the crew. We don't have to make a whole scene here, but I will ask the crew, like, after you got back to the desert, hauling an unconscious hostage, what do you do with your hostage? Do you take him to your lair? Like, I guess it's primarily a question for Mushfik, who is the guy who captured this guy and has been dragging him around, but Clem and Moss may certainly have opinions on it.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Bring him back to the lair, put him down on the ugly sofa.
So where's Saeeda again? She's still in the, like, is she out up and about?
Yeah. So I figure basically, so we're switching scenes, and Saeeda is essentially being taken to wherever Sharia thinks is best.
Okay.
So,
and I just thought it'd be funny to just have, Saeeda's just woken up and we dump this person in front of her, but it's okay. We can just go back over there.
Well, I mean, that could still happen. You could be taking Gurban to Aaron. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah.
No, let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, I love that idea, actually. So I guess then you are making ready to leave. I mean, this takes a little while, right? Because you have to get like your other stuff that wasn't kept at the house. And Aaron needs to unplug you from some devices and whatever. And as this is happening, his doorbell rings again. And as he's rearranging everything, with Shahryar and his bodyguard waiting patiently, and then Aaron's apprentice opens the door and sees Mushfik, Clem, and Moss. And looks a little perplexed.
I'm just being an old auntie. So I'm like, I have not noticed them. I think I'm being... So I'm taking things out of me. Sharia is just watching this in like faint amusement, but not I think helping. So
yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah, and Aaron, seeing you at the door, goes, Clem, he says, because he has this oddity of always addressing Clem first. I think, even though Clem is not the first person to appear.
Very good.
I think Clem is a little bit lost in whatever they've been seeing. Because of course they have this weird fucking mind link with a horrific beast now.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah. The crew, besides being covered in sand, are pretty harrowed by what has happened in the desert. That's
okay. This is why you shouldn't go out in the desert, by the way. But okay.
No, this was the resolution of a long-term project. This is the desired end goal.
Yes.
This is the desired end goal. Okay. I mean, me, person who has bound a demon to a sash, has no feet to stand on, which is good, because I am incapable of standing. But, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, Aaron says, you may as well come inside.
Is the slab available?
As a matter of fact, it is in the process of being vacated. He said, pushing up his glasses. Well, that means your friend, whose life I saved, is waking up. And then he realizes, I think, and he goes, but of course you have other, even more urgent matters. Well, do come in. What is a secret experimental medical station, if not a revolving door anyway? He looks dejected as he waves you in.
There's so many things going on there, so I'm so glad that I did not hear that. Occupied as I am with taking wires out of my palms.
So, what comes in is Mushfik, Clem, Moss, and a very large unconscious man in like desert traveling garb, swathed in like clothes to protect the face and the hair and the thick gloves, all of that. I think you also stole one of his pack animals, if I don't misremember. So
I'm sure we're not
There's
taking
so
the
much
pack
going
animals
on at the time.
into the underground hospital.
no, I know. I don't think you have it with you. It's just I just realized this. But yeah,
Okay.
so I guess this guy is being carried in manually. And
Okay.
so Saeeda, you see your crew.
I want to say that like I do think it is absolutely the right decision for me to not know what has happened and for me to react as it goes on. And if anything, I'm looking forward to not even knowing out of character until Saeeda finds out in character, because Saeeda doesn't understand what this is the outcome of a long-term project even means. So if you tell Saeeda, oh man, I have a mind link with an ancient demon, they're not going to be like, but you filled an 8 o'clock to do it. So, that's going to be good. How long was this clock, by the way, that you filled in order to do it?
It was 8 o'clock. It was an 8
Yes,
o'clock.
indeed.
Actually.
Yeah, it did have big 8 o'clock energy. I would like. Okay, I'm looking at your sheet now, and it says, track down some horrific Deadlands pet, heart.
Yes, the heart is very important, actually.
I feel like Saeeda's I'm the psycho in this crew energy is really being threatened, and I need to get back on my horrific Deadlands pet horse, so I can reclaim my throne.
So Aaron has been perplexed to see the crew at the door, and then the crew drag in this like man swaddled in desert traveling clothes who is unconscious. Basically, his last time was just the slab has just been vacated. You'll be pleased to know, and showed you that Saeeda is awake and busily unplugging herself from his Sparkcraft medical equipment.
And then for 2 minutes, Tree tried to understand Salty and failed.
I see. And Gurban is he still possessed by the ghost?
No, he was possessed by a ghost, but since
Right.
this is a very harrowing experience, I think it makes sense that he's still knocked out afterwards.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it makes sense to bring him here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Can we have what's his name, Aaron? Wake him up.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I just think the conversation with Saeeda should happen first.
All right, okay.
But yes, Aaron and his apprentice will drag the guy towards the slab and wait for Saeeda to get up and like get off the slab. And this is the moment, I guess, where Saeeda, you see your crew looking dusty and bedraggled and tired. And I do have a question for Clem here. So you have the ghost pet ability now, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And so it is established that sometimes ghost pets in Blades can like turn invisible and disappear and stuff. How do you feel about your new friend in this regard? Is it the kind of like it disappears entirely thing, or does it take some less horrifying fucked up appearance, or like how do you get this into the city, how?
I think it's probably less fucked up because I don't have ghost form yet for it, so it can't turn invisible. I don't think can't do ghost field shit at the moment. So I think it just becomes less horrific.
How does the Udu interact with it?
Well, here's the thing: since Clem is now bound to it, it is somehow protected from the Udu. So I think the way this makes sense to me, I think, is that when you saw these things in the desert, they were huge, but I think they have the capacity to like shrink down somewhat, and so I think it's just covered itself in rags, like because you had all these desert-going clothes, so it can sort of disguise itself.
It's a weird dragon bone thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. My point is, it can sort of disguise itself as maybe a human if you don't look too closely. Covered in rags and clothes. So there's like a weird hulking, misshapen person-like thing. And I think Saeeda, I mean, you have an eye for this thing. You can absolutely tell that thing is not human at all.
Yeah. I know what I'm gonna do. I look at it, and then it's still very weak. I turn to look at Shariat, and I will say, did you bring this here? Is this one of your gifts? Is there some? Am I missing something? Because
Yeah.
the first thing that I would think is not, oh, my crew will
Yeah.
do something with it. My first thing is, oh, that's the super powerful sorcerer who's my best friend. He's surely he's the reason.
I think you look at him and he goes slightly like pale and he looks very uncertain and afraid. And he says,
Okay.
"Oh, that is not my work." And he looks over at the thing, the like mass of rags and clothes, and he slightly inclines his head, and he says, "Teacher." And he gives the slight nod of a man who respects someone who is a teacher in a profession, but is if he were a younger man, he would be throwing himself to the doing a deep bow kind of thing. He has enough status not to do that, but he does not apparently have enough status not to show respect. That's the
weird thing in rags.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes it's really unfortunate that this is not a video podcast because you didn't just see me literally lose all of my shit. I'm flabbergasted, I guess, and I'm gonna look at Shariar back at this thing in rags. And I'm just gonna say, respect to you, teacher? Question mark?
The thing is unable to speak, but it gestures with one of its hands towards Clem, who can communicate with it. And I think the gesture it makes is like a mystic hand sign that both you and Shar can be left to interpret. And the message that Clem gets telepathically from it is, who are these people?
Oh my god!
This is Saeeda and Katam of Rising Moon, our Ustad. And this is I'm sorry, I don't know you.
Yeah, Shariar said, Shariar Ankayat. He says, looking over at the creature, and I don't think these things have eyes, so I think it's going to do the thing that things with no, do the thing that it thinks is natural and come and touch you.
I'm gonna roll resolve resist because there's a real chance I'm gonna do something stupid. Rolled a 4. And as this happens to me, I think with the 4, what's gonna happen is that sometimes you just feel deep nausea when you encounter something that you know is not good. And with the 4, we're just gonna be able to say this is because I'm really fucked up and not because a weird hand thing just came on thing.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I'm gonna noisily throw up. Whatever the nice rice was that I just ate was.
Yeah. So I think we established, as you tamed this thing, that the creatures, they have mostly wings and arms and mouths, and they don't have very many other discernible features. I think that's...
Mostly wings and arms and mouths?
Yes. This is... So, as it approaches, this is the sense of its anatomy you get. It has big bat wings that occupy the bulk of its body, and then it has altogether too many arms, and there are, on some of its palms, there are lamprey mouths.
That is genuinely my reaction, and also the noise that Saeeda makes as they throw.
Yes. So, like I said, I think when it folds its wings together and covers itself in a cloak, it can reasonably pass for a human. But that's about it.
Great. I'm glad it can reasonably pass for a human occasionally. Isn't that nice for it? And I will just say, after I finish, I'll say, I thank the teacher for its beneficence.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck else am I gonna say? Apparently even Shariar is scared of this thing.
Yeah, he is. And I think Shariar at this point will turn to Clem, since he realizes that Clem is the interpreter. and he will say, I think, did you have an encounter in Ypres by any chance?
No. No, we didn't.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. He says, and it takes him a moment to compose himself.
Oh, I love that's interesting. That's interesting is such a normal thing to say. Okay. Yeah. Mm.
Well,
Clem narrows their eyes and it's just like, what do you mean by encounter in Ypres then? Oh, my apologies, I didn't introduce myself. Clementine. Pleasure. It's going to offer a hand.
yeah, he will greet you in a like too formal manner, more than he usually does, I think. But he will take your hand. He will shake it, and then he will look over at the thing and back to you and say, "Well, I spend a lot of time in the reservoir around the old city. I have occasionally had a chance for run-ins, although it's really only in Ypres or around the well, and I'm certain this individual is not from around the well, although there is someone quite like them there."
Somebody mentioned Ypres last session. I'm not sure I remember.
It was, in fact, the Clem's new friend that mentioned Ypres
Oh,
having
yes.
memories of it.
Right.
So, yeah, and it is the old city, maybe. So,
Yes.
I think maybe is doing a lot of work in that sentence.
yes,
But
yes. Anyway, Sharia straightens up a little bit and he says, "Well, there was still the matter of your sash," he says to Saeeda, to bring the conversation back.
yes, to where we started, yes. And I will say, the sash. If the demon inside has transformed so utterly that it is no longer what it was, I do not know whether it will seek me again in its new guise. And if it does, I do not know I have the strength to bind it again. Not in this state.
There was a demon in that sash?
Of course, there was a demon in that sash, Moss. How could
Where
you
did you
not
put
tell?
the sash, Moss?
Under my bed. I would have liked to know about the demon.
I thought the demon had passed on. That's what this man told me.
Like, Moss wasn't there for this, so I don't think she has context. So if I'm missing context, then that's diegetic.
Yeah.
Yes. No, like Aaron basically, when I said, "Oh, what happened to the sash I had?" mistakenly thought that I meant what happened to the red sash who stabbed me. Not.
I
yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think I'm going to say, I've taught you even less well than I feared. You could not tell my sash had a demon in it.
Oh, I know you had a demon with you, but I didn't know it was in the sash.
Where else would I put it? As if that's a normal thing to say?
In your staff, she says, because that's where she would put ghosts.
Yes, it is.
Which is the staff that Moss is carrying at the moment. So
Yeah.
I'm a swordsman.
Or in your sword.
Yes. My sash is my... Mushfiq, have you not taught? Very well. Seems that I have much to catch up on. Clementine, have you ensured that...
Mushfiq doesn't use the sash, by the way.
Yeah, but he knows!
No, that's
He knows!
yours is a different style of fighting.
Oh my god.
Mushfiq knows knowing things.
Yeah, indeed. I'm going to look at Clementine, who seems to be the only person that Saeeda has not yet interrogated. And I will say, and you, Golden Knight, what have you been up to in the time that I've been asleep?
Bidrihi's gone to prison for us. Got taken into witness protection. Malera Clev is dead. We went out into the desert to bring Gurban the Camel back. And your Sashes under Moss's bed. I don't know what this has to do with anything. Is that enough? Saeeda, you should sit down. Keep that in.
Spent long enough sitting down. Why did you tell me the sash had passed on? I'm yelling at Aaron now.
He says, well, I'm sorry I said I don't keep up with the exact goings out of the outer world. I'm very busy in here. Someone may have died, someone may have lived. I still think he doesn't understand you're talking about a literal sash. You mentioned about it being demon possessed, but he may as well assume that's a person. So
Yep. Okay. And I will say, seems like you've come here on some work then. Why don't you do that while one of you catches me up? Mushfiq, you seem like the one least likely to be useful to this man. Why don't you tell me? And this is absolutely an insult.
Yeah, so I think you see Mushfiq like kind of think like, wait, is that what I think it meant? Like, never mind. Like, he's just come back from the desert. Like, it's whatever. It's too early or too late in whatever time of day it is for this kind of thing.
Mm.
And he goes, yeah. What did you want to know?
Tell me everything beginning from Bidrohi, then continuing to this damn fool decision to go out into the desert, and you can end with what the hell these people are doing here, with what appears to be a man whom you have tied up.
Okay, did you three actually need to be caught up, or can we just say that Mushfiq catches you up?
No, I do need to be caught up, but don't actually catch me up on screen. It'll be much funnier if I discover all these things as time.
What?
Okay. So then let's just say Mushfiq just goes, well, it all started with, and then it just fades to black, and then we go, and then we come back to going, and then we went hang gliding, and then fades to black again. There was a ghost possessing. And that's when we return though.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. I think let's cut here because it's been a long time without Bidrohi.
Yes.
So let's cut to the Bidrohi side of things. I don't know that this is happening at the same time, but it may as well be happening at the same time because why desync ourselves for no reason?
Mm-hmm.
So Bidrohi, your time in prison is about up as all of this has been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And your situation in prison was like it was quote unquote witness protection, as in they arrested you so that people who were after you to kill you couldn't kill you. This was very much a favor from Captain Peregrine. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think it's like him to come release you personally or anything like that. I think you're just be informed at one point that your service is up. And like, again, this is not modern prisons, right? It's entirely possible to just be forgotten down here sometimes. It's poorly organized, to say the least. But eventually, some guy comes in and announces your fake name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the... Let's say, actually, that it is one of the RKO miners, because they have some collaboration with the prison system. Like, the RKO miners have employed your services before. That's how you stayed in contact with Mona.
Right.
I think it's probably one of her colleagues that comes to see you and calls out your fake name, which I've already forgotten, but it echoes through the cave as you're sitting down, taking a break in work.
Did we establish that I had a fake name? I mean, like, did we say what it was?
I think we did, but I forgot it already, so it doesn't matter anymore. It just made sense to arrest you under a fake name.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I think I kind of like slope up to him and I say, yes, Jura sir. Is there anything that needs to be drilled or blown up or like cleared or like poked with the drill? I said drill twice, didn't I? I really like drilling.
No, it's he digs around in his pocket. He goes,
Oh, digging I can also do.
It's your time's up, you damn fool.
Thumbs up.
He shows you a piece of a piece of paper signed by whatever passes for a prison warden, saying that a prisoner by your name is supposed to be fetched up from here. And of course, the reason he just doesn't say so and so is to be freed is that then everyone goes, "I'm Spartacus." It's not like you have passports, so he called you over to anyone responding to that name, and then he shows you the order.
I take it and I read it, and I go, but Jura sir, if I go away, then like, can I like take one of the drills with me?
He considers this a moment.
I'm just kidding. I know that the drills are like very expensive property, but I just wanted a token to remember all the good times we had together. Remember the time you yelled at me for being late. Remember the time you yelled at me for dropping the rock. Remember the time that you yelled at me for like not tucking in my shirt properly. Remember the time you drilled at me for like not wearing a shirt. That was like, this is good times.
No. And then he goes like, look, you want to stay, you can stay. You want to go? This may be your only shot at it.
Sir, freedom is an incredible gift to make our own choices, and I will choose to remember you fondly. And I will give him a bow. And I think I'll just look around and I just say, can I say goodbye to all my friends? Or will that make them jealous?
Give me that back first, he says, and he takes the piece of paper back so that you don't pass it on to someone else or it doesn't get stolen. Or...
Yeah. Then I have some tearful goodbyes where I hug Bath Time, Night Terror, Ripon the Ripper, and Zudsut Mohitul goodbye. And I tell them, brothers, sisters, siblings, I will come back for all of you. Okay? Remember, I'll show you the nice boarding house. I'll introduce you to Ustad Saeeda. I'll introduce you to Mushfiq Bhai, who is an absolute legend, as I have said. Sibling Clem, my sister Moss, my little sister. You will have tea at what was the tea maker's name? Mofis Bhai. You will have Mofis Bhai's tea, and we shall all be brothers and siblings and sisters outside once more. Okay? This is my promise. As here, as inside, so outside.
Yeah, most of them look at you, tired and worn. These hard ruffians who have never known it. But you're a good kid. You're a charming kid, and so there are smiles from them. And Zutsut Mohitul, who I think is the most talkative of them, looks up at you and goes, "I'm gonna hold you to that," and finger guns at you very warily.
Brother.
Wearily.
Finger guns, Mohit. Like, surely that's gotta be his name.
I extend my arms and I say, brother, hold me to that so that I may hold you in my arms very soon. And I will leave.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to start a long-term project to have a retinue where I'm going to get all these guys freed and they will be my personal troop.
Okay, excellent. Then I look forward to you defining things about them. I have so far only defined that Mohitul does finger guns.
What else does a man need?
And you are led by this guy who has been your warden, this minor dude, back to the surface, where I think it makes sense that Mona is the person like waiting for you. And it's a little bit discreet because since she's been smuggling things to you in and out, it doesn't make sense for her to, be in charge of you. So I think she's out of uniform, not as a minor on the surface. Probably she's in that bar where you first met her, right near the cave entrance. Yeah. So you get taken over there on like request that when you're freed, you're delivered to that bar. And you see Mona still having her electroplasmic drill. And I guess she's ordered the snails again. It's her favorite thing to order here. Yeah.
I sit down. So I kind of like rush towards her and give her a big hug.
Yeah, and she has the wind knocked out of her by the big hug.
Yeah. Because now I'm jacked as fuck.
Yeah, definitely. She, I think she comments on that. She just goes, "You put on weight." That's not usually how it goes in the mines.
I was fed with love and care and the affection of my friends. Actually, no. Zuzud Moitul taught me how to steal food.
I don't know why now this order just came out of nowhere, but I guess I assume that means it's safe to go out.
Mhm.
She says, lowering her voice a little, even though you're mostly alone in here. She's still careful.
Mm-hmm. Yes. How is everyone doing? Do they know that I'm out, or can we surprise them?
Well, they don't know yet. In fact, if I wasn't friends with, now I forgot the name of the guy who was your warden. You named him a second ago.
Jura.
Yeah, if I wasn't friends with Jura, I probably wouldn't have found out. Whoever figured your sentence was up either wanted to keep this very discreet, or it's just a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Well, we never look a gift goat in the mouth because they're liable to bite you. But if they don't know that I am out, then this is an incredible opportunity to surprise everyone. Can we take a little bit of a long route back home? Will you allow this? Is it okay? I don't want to put you out.
Yeah, I think she has really warmed up to you over time, right? She always liked you. So she smiles genuinely and she says, Bidruhi, you've been in prison for weeks, if not months. You know, whatever you want to do, let's just do it, okay?
Very good. Okay, so first gift is for you. Here's a cool rock I found. I give her a cool rock.
Yes. So finding cool rocks in these mines could be like some weird trippy artifact, but since you've been working under the supervision of the archaeo miners, they would have probably identified anything dangerous. So it's literally just a cool rock.
Yeah, like it's very aesthetically pleasing and of no value to the people who. I mean, I'm not like stealing anything that I was supposed to be mining.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
It's a cool rock in her favorite color, which I don't know what that would be, but that is what it is.
Uh-huh.
And I say, okay. Also, there's a question for you, Prince.
Uh-huh.
Did I get any, like normally when you're discharged from prison, like at least in the modern system, they give you back your stuff, including your money. What did I get given back? Do I have any money on me?
Well, what's your stash situation and coin?
I have like one lifestyle level. I have one coin.
The lifestyle level is the stuff you literally have stashed, so that's back at your place.
Yeah.
So I think reasonably, given how corrupt this system is, I think anything you had on you at the time of the arrest, they just stole. Okay. But you can still have your coin. I'm not gonna the game doesn't say that you lose your coin upon arrest. So I think probably Mona. What makes sense, I think, is that Mona safe kept it for you. Probably Mona and her crew confiscated it at the time of you being thrown in prison, and then she was just persuaded the others to give it to her. So
yeah, I mean, I could also leave it with my mom. I think the reason I'm asking is since I was not given back my money by the prison people, I'd just ask Mona to spot me a little bit of cash while I go buy gifts for everyone.
Yep, that makes sense.
First gift that I buy with Mona's money is snails for Mushfik Bhai.
Snails.
That's food.
It is food.
Is
you
Mushfik
like food?
Particularly a fan of Saroshi cuisine?
Okay, I get it. Sure, okay, fine. No snails for you then. Then I'm going to go to Sharbat Das's Sharbat shop and get some Sharbat.
Lovely.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah.
There we Yes. We're going to go to Sharbat Das's place. We're going to get some Sharbat. Hopefully Sharbat Das doesn't realize that I'm that I'm a member of the gang that he is not at war with. But were we at war with them? No, we aren't at war with them.
With the Flatbread Uncles, no.
Yeah.
They don't love you, but they also don't hate you.
Yeah. This guy leads them. But I'm just going to pop in real quick for some Sharbat.
Yeah, I also think that if he is the leader of the gang, he probably doesn't like personally sell things all the time in his store. So you're probably not even interacting with him,
Mhm.
but one of his employees. So
Yeah, just duck
who
in,
are
get
also
some,
gang members, but
just duck in, get a jug of sherbet, head out, and then I think, okay, now we go to the botanical gardens in Udaput. And then we smash cut to the botanical gardens in Udaput, where I go and steal a bunch of flowers.
okay.
I steal a bunch of flowers, and then that's for Moss. What would Saeeda like? What would Saeeda like? You know what? I'm going to roll consort to understand Saeeda as a fortune
Okay.
roll.
Okay,
Good luck.
sure.
Yeah. And Tree, you can tell me if I say. Okay. So Tree, what do I get that I think would be great for Saeeda, but which she will not enjoy at all?
Oh, I know. You try and get me some like pickled prawns because you remember that we're from Cateris and seafood's so nice. But you don't get me the right kind, and it's terrible.
Yeah, these are like factory potted. These are like factory packaged prawns from Dustful.
It's really terrible. It's I'm gonna judge you, which I wish I didn't have to. But
Like,
such
how
I'm
good?
afraid is the way.
Look at these. These are like bugs, Mona. How can Saeeda auntie be enjoying the bugs? But I don't know. She's still not recovered, right?
Yep. Indeed, prawns, cockroaches of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then finally for Clem,
Mhm.
whom I don't know very well at all. I'm going to get her some cool boots. And when I say get her some cool boots, I mean I'm going to steal them.
This boot theft thing is a big thing for you.
Yes. Okay. Make me a fortune roll to see how cool boots you can get away with stealing.
Finesse.
Uh-huh. Or, before you roll. Okay, no, you rolled. It's fine. It's a 5, so
Mhm.
it's boots on par with your tier, which is 1.
Very good.
Nice boots.
They're okay.
Tier 1 boots.
Listen, I just got out of prison.
Yes. I will, you know what? I will randomly roll to see the style of these boots for no reason, but I'm going to do it.
You have a style of boots table?
No, but I'm going to roll on the demon's table and take it from
Like,
there.
God.
What?
Yes, that is the way to
This
do
is
it.
how we do it. Yes. Just I don't know why I got invested in this, but I blame you. I rolled a 1 and a 4, so they are mist and fog ghosts. Oh no, twisting machinery under summoned horrors. There we go. So,
Yes.
I think what you have managed to steal is a pair of Sparkrights boots. They are,
They're made of rubber.
yeah, they're rubbery insulated and have features that you don't understand for like safety working with Sparkcraft equipment.
Mona, look at these
Very
things.
good.
Have you ever seen boots like this? And I kind of like hold them up, and then I kind of like they're like big wellies, right? I hold them
Yeah.
up by the soles, and then I kind of like
Mhm.
jiggle them, and then the rubber just kind of weirdly jiggles. It looks really weird.
Mhm.
I don't think any
Yes.
of us have ever touched anything made of rubber before.
No. Mona looks at them and goes, I don't like it. Behaves like a fish, that does.
Sibling Clem is a person of the world and likes all sorts of weird, exotic shit. I think.
I mean, if they like octopus, I'm not sure they would like it on their feet.
What is octopus?
Fair enough.
And I'm happy to be
Excellent.
educated as we walk.
Yes.
With
I just
the
think
many
if you
gifts.
Yeah, if you don't know about rubber, but you do know about weird things from the sea.
I think there's also some more gifts that I get for my family, of course. But I
Yeah.
wanted to establish the ones for the crew first.
Yes.
Yes.
I would really like to get everyone in the same room together.
Yes.
So is it cutting back to the rest of the crew? Do you think we can jump ahead to people at the crew being back at the lair since we were mostly just catching Saeeda up. I know we have Gurban to interview still. Should we do that first? Or
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Mm.
I think we could do both because we could get him like patched up or whatever, and then like interview him back in our lair. Because it seems like we are imposing on this poor man
yeah, you know
quite
what?
aggressively.
That makes sense. I think Aaron will like administer. Probably what happens actually is that he just gives you some medicine to wake this guy up, like some sort of anti-ghost tonic, and then he just goes a shot. Probably that seems like Aaron's thing. So like he will give you a syringe loaded up with some stuff, and you can inject that into Gurban to wake him up. He probably won't suffer any ill effects from the ghost possession. And then he sends you home because you have imposed on him a lot. I think that makes a lot of sense, actually, just to get the crew together.
Yeah.
So then we have another Bidro. He's going to walk in on another interesting scene, I guess, where now Gurban is laid up on the ratty sofa in your lair, and Clem, Saeeda, Moss, and Mushfik are all there. Saeeda, you have found your sash. We know that there's nothing actually wrong with it, so.
Yeah. So the demon is still in the sash, to be clear.
Yes, I mean, it hates being in the sash and having been lying under a bed for this long, but it's there.
It's an issue that I will have to do something about. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think it's funny to have this scene of like Gurban with like a sleeve rolled up with someone ready to give him a shot when suddenly Bidri walks in.
Yoo-hoo! I'm home!
You fool. I mean, who says that?
I do.
Yes, please go on.
I've said it.
Yes.
Well, I've said it. I'm home, and I'm waiting for your reactions with a big grin on my face.
I'm very tired, so there is no.
What do you mean you're very tired? You've been asleep for months.
Yes, that's why I'm tired. Sleeping is very tiring, man.
Drink some coffee, get up, and hug me. What's going on?
Moss gestures at like the guy at the guy with the syringe and everything, and she's like, "Well, I suppose this can wait." And then she goes to hug Big Bidri.
Sister Moss, I have missed you very, 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 very much. And here are some flowers for you.
And so, wonderful flowers.
I have taken a flower for each time I have missed you. There's a lot of flowers.
You are ever the poet. I'm glad to see you haven't lost that. How? You don't look starved or anything.
No. I had a great guy called Zudzut Mohitul. You will meet him very soon, and he taught me how to steal other people's food. And I give a thumbs up.
Good. I'm looking forward to meeting him. We just had we're interrogating a guy. Want to join?
Oh, who is this? I mean, I have gifts for everyone. Mushfik Bhai, sibling Clem, and oh my god, oh, and then I kind of like put everything aside, and then I rush to Saeeda, and I kind of like, what would be an appropriate gesture of respect? Like, does like falling down and kind of like touching the feet? Is that a thing? Tree?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go over there and I just say, Ustad, you're up. I didn't have the opportunity to do this, and then I kind of like reach for my sword to kind of go to it. Then I realize I'm not wearing my sword. Hold on. And then he kind of like just grabs a random sword from the wall and it's like, okay, yes, please, accept me formally as your apprentice, please. I have offering for you, and then I kind of like put the pickled prawns at your feet as well.
So this is a tin of prawns. So
Yes.
I think it's not like these are glass jars. So it's a metal container with a very badly painted impression of a prawn on it.
It's a smiling prawn.
Yes.
And also, this man has just got me his Ustad, something that I didn't know I was.
You know what? It's a smiley face, but like the eyes are like two prawns like curled up tight, and the smile is like a long prawn.
Okay.
Yes.
That's normal. Yeah, really quite bad. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, cool, fine, normal, as I
Mhm.
said. I will look at the prawns and then look back at Bidrohi and say, "Did you put on weight in jail?"
Yes, thank you for noticing. I'm like pretty jacked right now. But that's not important, Ustad Said. I'm asking you to be my Ustad formally. I mean, I've been calling you Ustad. Maybe that's inappropriate, but like, I don't know, just because before, I mean, formally, let us do this, you know? I think it's been a long time coming. I killed my Lala Crave, by the way.
I one thing at a time. You truly wish to be my student, knowing that it will entail even more work and even less pleasure than it does now.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that because that seems like a really big ask that it can be like more work and less pleasure. But I mean,
Indeed.
and you know, he's giving a smile.
Yeah. And I think she will just say, if this is your wish, then I will be honored to have such a brave student. Especially one who has apparently already murdered the woman responsible for my current state. Tell me, did she put up a decent fight?
Oh yeah, it was a fight for the ages. I had to fight very dirty and very tricky to defeat her. But to be fair, she was also fighting tricky and dirty.
Then we can call that the test that you have passed. Isn't that lucky? I might have made you fight Diamond Tooth instead otherwise.
I already fought Diamond Tooth.
And you survived?
Yes. Didn't I tell you I broke his favorite mug?
And I'm going to turn and look at Moss and I will say, here is another lesson in being an elder sibling. Something that I can no longer do to Bidrohi as I am his teacher. When he says and does things like these, it is imperative that you impress upon him that he cannot say and do them in front of me, lest I beat him.
Please enjoy these prawns. And I kind of hold them up.
Mosk is like a very like slight and somewhat doubtful smile, and then takes a breath and says, "I'll commit it to memory."
Good. I thank you for the prawns.
Mm-hmm. Sister Moss does the thinking on my behalf. This is what we call competitive outsourcing.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that case, you have chosen well, have you not?
Mm-hmm. You are very welcome to the prawns, and here are some more guests. Mushfiq bhai, come here. Look, Shorbot.
Mushfiq is, I think, like genuinely relieved and pleased to see that Bidrohi is out and doing well, but he's just too manly, to do that. So he just goes the nod, hey.
Yeah, but you aren't too manly to enjoy some sherbet.
No, of course not. But yeah, he's just come back from the desert, eagerly accepts it, takes a gift, and he goes, see, now this is what you do when you come back from you see someone after a long time. And he looks pointedly at Saeeda.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Are you suggesting that I should have gotten you a gift after having been stabbed nearly to death?
Jot that down. I like that Mushfiq is a real man's man, and no real man ever shows like real emotion and vulnerability about another man, but emotion and vulnerability about food, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this case, Mushfiq, I'm afraid I must beg your indulgence, as I was nearly dead. I hope you can forgive me for this great sin.
Mm-hmm. And sibling Clem, don't think I have forgotten you. Look at these cool boots. And then I kind of like put them up and I make them jiggle weirdly.
Oh, like an octopus.
Is everyone knowing about this octopus thing?
Wonderful.
Anyway, gifts exchanged.
Have you grown? Have you grown? You look taller, standing up straighter.
Oh, everyone is saying that I'm like getting bigger or like, gaining more weight, but no one said that I'm looking taller. That's very nice. Thank you. Yes. Wow. Oh, wow. It's very strange for me to be back. I've only been talking to like fellow prisoners for so long. What are you guys doing? Who is this person?
Yeah, Gurban, I think, loudly snores on his sofa. Just.
Yeah. I guess we'd temporarily forgotten him, and we go, yes.
Should I have gotten him a gift too?
Maybe, because I don't think he's gonna be happy when he wakes up.
Okay, I'll go. I'll be right back. And then I leave to get him a present. I guess I don't know.
Don't. Bidrohi, Mushfiq is pulling your leg. You.
No. We should go get him a
Yes.
present.
No, we do not need to get this man a present.
We injected this man with a ghost. We dragged him across.
I don't think there was
the
any
desert.
we about that. There wasn't a we in injecting this man with a ghost.
I understand. I understand that you have done some things, but if it is all right with you, I would like to spend some time with my student instead of, well, you.
Wait, you as in Mushfiq?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, should we split this up into two scenes where?
No. I'm making fun of you. I'm not in character. That I'm making fun of you. I don't actually mean to.
Yeah, Saeeda, if you just come with me and let's like find a gift for this Gurban person and have a nice chat if you're going to get the gift.
That's a great idea.
It'll be good for you to get some air.
You're looking very well.
I'm not well, but I appreciate the compliment. Very well, let us attempt to find a gift for a man into whom we have injected a ghost.
Oh, is that what you did?
As Mushfiq says. It's what Mushfiq did, and if what Clem says is right, it's what we did. We are all a team, after all.
I would like to make clear that Mushfiq is innocent in this, Moss says from a corner.
Mhm.
Oh, Mushfiq bhai, Sherikatam is never innocent.
Never.
Sherikatam. Catch me up on all the stories after I'm back, okay? Okay. And then as soon as we close the door, I say, I bet he just stayed in his room eating food all the time.
Not even a little bit what he must have done, but sure. And I think as we go to get what appears to be a gift, what I'm going to try and do is I'm still recovering from this near-death experience, and I have just I had an advance pending, so I have taken something I've called "Do Not Go Gently," and the text of this is: "You have lived for too long between the edge that lies between life and death. On the edge, sorry. When you are near death, the Prince of Endings permits you to see the truth more clearly." And I think I'm still, unfortunately, quite near death. And I will be until at least the end of this session. So I'm going to look at Bidrohi and maybe try and study him and try and understand what a good teacher might teach him. Because while Saeeda is a cranky old goat in many ways, I think they do take teaching quite seriously. As we know from her experience even with Samum. And if Bidrohi truly wants to be the student, then it is a responsibility, right? It's not a luxury.
Okay.
So you think it is a fortune roll? Actually, give me 1 second. I'm getting a phone call.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we carry on with the other scene?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. I was trying to get you all into one room and then you split up again, but that's fine. That's on you. So, back in the lair. I mean, Saeeda and Bidrohi can quite easily return to the scene back in the lair as well. Back in the lair, who is holding the syringe? Is it Moss? I think it was established it was Moss who then put it down.
Yes, it can be Moss.
Yeah, so are you waking him up? Are you giving him the shot?
Mushfik is still here, right? Yeah, so...
Yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose we get on with this in the meantime, Shalik said Mushfik.
Yeah. No point in waiting.
No. Would you like me to hold him down?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. I'll probably hold the arm down.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yep.
And as Clem is holding him down, Moss gives him the shot.
Yeah, and he like convulses, and I think you see this whole like possession process play out in reverse. So it's quite, it's unsettling. Seeing a person possessed by a ghost is frightening, and I think what you're injecting him with is something like reverse electroplasm. So he convulses violently, and his eyes open and blink, and for a moment it's clear he can't see. He just stares at nothing, and then his voice slowly comes back, but he is still, I think, quite weak and unwell, and he goes, Nirix, where the hell did you go?
Is sent into the black.
But no, no, damn you! Wait. He breathes heavily and he's very clearly confused, and he blinks some tears out of his eyes even, and goes, I've never known someone so well, so intimately.
You're lucky because we're about to get to know each other very well. Gurban, now is it?
Take him into the private room.
Yeah. Yeah, and who the hell are you? Because he's never seen you before. He didn't even see you before he passed out.
Yeah.
Mushfik, he only saw Moss.
So, and Mushfik just goes, it just says, Mushfik, student of Ustad Shahed. I believe you know him?
Shahed. Ah, yeah. Yeah. I know him. The name rings a bell.
I think Mushfik offers a bit of the short what that bit got for him. Goes, your voice sounding a bit rough there, buddy.
Thank you. He drinks, and he looks still thoroughly confused by everything. He's been through the ringer after all, but after he drinks, he says, "So, what about him?"
Well, very, very simple. Where is he?
Well, I don't know exactly where. I don't keep track of my customers, considering I delivered him into the hands of the fire speakers. And they're a secretive bunch. But I can give you the name of the contact. Sure. And I think he has nothing particular against this. Like, he's wily enough to know that he's been caught, right? He's figuring out that he needs to cooperate. But also, the fire speakers are bad news.
We have not seen them before, have we?
The hammer, the guy we met briefly during the duel was fire speaker, and then also the guy to do with the tree. So I think Clem kind of narrows their eyes at that and looks over at Moss. Do you want to ask him a bit about that then?
Moss probably knows what this means. Emma is blanking.
The fire speakers were the Uduashan supremacist faction. The people you ran into, and you killed one of them. Because he was about to find out about the tree.
Yeah.
We have changed the name of this faction a couple of times, so I am also confused by the name sometimes. But yeah, they're called the fire speakers.
You have more contacts with them then. She looks at Gurban.
Yeah, he nods cautiously, and Says, yeah, well, them and the with lots of people. Listen, I can introduce you to anybody in town. I know people everywhere. But yeah. I know how you can get in touch with the pendulum, and they should have no trouble seeing you to this Shahid guy. He says kind of dismissively. It's clear that none of these people mean very much to him.
Brought him into the city, right?
I did, yeah. He was alone. He was caught up in a lot of bad stuff. He needed to get away, and he needed friends. So, as a professional matchmaker, I introduced him to some.
How did he contact you anyway?
Contact is a strong word. We haven't really established what happened to Yorustad, so remind me, like, you basically just lost contact with him, right?
What we've established is that so this was during the the showdown with Al-Qadir that Mushfiq's unit got ambushed, basically.
Yeah.
Right. And during the chaos, I guess everyone just kind of lost contact with each other.
Yeah. Basically, most of you died. The ones who didn't were scattered to the winds. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he says contact is a strong word. Listen, I mostly deal with people who don't have very many other places to go. And I make it my business to know of some camps around some of the few safe places in the deserts and the Deathlands. I visit them. I tell people there if they got any money, they can give it to me, and I take them someplace safe. He said there was no place safe for him in Kethris, so I took him here. End of story, really.
End of story, huh? You see, funny thing, I've been led to believe that you're gonna meet my Ustad again, and it will not go end well for him. Any idea what that's about?
He like scratches his chin, and then he says, Do you not hear who I handed him over to? And he like raises an eyebrow because, I mean, the fire speakers are known to be, well, dangerous people, to say the least. So he's like, you think I'm the danger here and not them? That's curious. But at the same time, clearly, I think you can read from his, like, the way he's talked about it in his expression, he's planning to meet them again. Like, he does business with these people fairly regularly, so.
Yeah, okay. But maybe I'm misremembering what we found in the book.
It did say he would like lead to Yorustad's death. I think.
But he's already done it. Is the thing. He's already sort of done his part in the.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is a prophecy, so one always has to be fast and loose with them. But I'm imagining this is a reasonable, you know. The clock for Yorustad being in danger hasn't gone away, right?
Mm.
So.
Yep. Makes sense. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I think for Mushfiq, like, I don't think there's much else to go. I think Mushfiq just goes fire speakers. Well, if it's on one thing, it's another.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll.
No, listen. I'm a reasonable man. I'll take you to them. I'll get you to my contact. You can ask whatever questions you want, and how are we settling payment? He asks. Just is you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every day I'm hustling.
Yeah. We know what you've got out in the desert, Gurban.
Yeah. How we'll be settling payment is we don't give up your little safe house out in the desert, and you let us use it as we please.
We can have a good working relationship.
I think there's a role here. I think you're definitely coming at this from a controlled position, because the mere fact that you know about it. and everything is fair, but I think there's a role to be made still, and it's controlled standard in that you can absolutely persuade him to agree with this, but there is some small risk of a lost opportunity here.
Yeah. Are we doing this as a group action? It seems like we both, like Clem and Bushwick both had like the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I tick off a blade or two? And he feels, because I've got him in my arms, and he feels that I've got a blade on me.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm vicious.
I guess that would, I guess that would give you better effect if you're doing that. So controlled great it is. And great basically just means he will 100% respect that you are seriously dangerous people. Like, he sort of knows that already, but it will become clear to him that he is not to fuck with you. Beyond just striking a reasonable bargain with you, right? Which would have been standard. He will strike a reasonable bargain and he will be too afraid to alter it down the line.
If we get this, do we get a claim?
Yes, I think so. I think you get Deathland's Passage, or whatever it's called, Deathland's Gate, something like that.
From smugglers. I'll look that up while you guys continue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Mushfik is leading this group action.
Well, someone has to roll for me.
You have 4 stress remaining. Do you want to push yourself?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I think that'll bring me up to just 1 die total.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to use traumatic flashbacks, so I spend 2 stress to roll 3 dice for this.
Okay.
Because I've got 2 trauma now. And yeah, it's command, and I think definitely been in a very similar interrogation situation before.
Yep.
Oh, that's a crit.
Okay. That's a crit with great effect. All right. So here's how this is going to go. I think, Clem, I said that you're bringing a knife to him would make him afraid, but I also think it makes him genuinely respect you. He is this sort of like brutal person who finds like kinship with other people who are brave and crazy enough to do this sort of thing. And so I think your bonus effect here is that he is intimidated by you, but he also just like respect that you are a sensible criminal gang with which he can make operations. And so you get this claim, and you also get +1 faction status with Gurban's gang.
Don't you love being a sensible criminal gang?
Yeah.
He's so sensible.
Gurban's gang, I'm adding him. He is only a tier 1 gang, but yeah, I think that's how we're going to play it. It turns out he does not mind this kind of play.
Muy bien.
Fantastic.
Yep. So, you can add the claim to your sheet, and I think the scene has gone on a fair bit, so he will also give you the information about the fire speakers. And I don't know that you need more information from him about the Rocca. Moss got most of that out of Nyrix last session. But I do think, and I would like to pivot the session to focus a bit on Moss's dealings with the Rocca, so I'm just flagging that. Because I do think it's important that we wrap up Moss's storyline. However, just to briefly summarize what you get from Gurban in this scene is you get his claim, you get relationships with his gang, provided you let him go, but I think you have little reason not to. He basically, again, gets convinced that you are powerful people with whom it's beneficial for him to be friends. And you also get his information about the pendulum, his contact among the fire speakers who have Ustad Shahed. And exactly what becomes of this storyline, we will play to find out. But yeah, I think that's that.
All right.
Here close the doors to the house of endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Soap, Soumithri, called Tree, Salty, and Emma. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on ko-fi.com/Desperate patreon.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha. Next time on Desperate Attune.
When we spoke in the desert, you said that you were looking for people who had to become lost. Did you mean that only in the sense that people did not know where they were anymore, or was there a different meaning to that?
I mean it in the sense that some people thought they could make homes away from Ketris, away from Rocca. They thought they could bring home with them, like the trees.